I'm Heather. I'm back for another really quick video. This particular video is brought to you by the birthday party that has my kid for the next couple hours. Happy Saturday! But in the way of all birthday parties, they do end, and then those parents are like, come and get your kids, you can't stay here, which is like super selfish, but basically, it's not an infinite gift of time, so I'm gonna have to go really quick on this one. So today's video is basically a launch of a series of videos that I can do then, because it's a project that I've been working on for about a year now and probably will be working on for quite a while from now. So every time I add a book that I've read to the project, I can then update you on the success or failure of the project. This massive project that is my new Everest and I refuse to allow to defeat me is reading through the entire list of 100 book/series on the Great American Read List. Alright. So the Great American Read, it's basically the 100 favorite books in America. So Americans' 100 favorite books, but each number on the list of 100 sometimes is a book, but also is sometimes just a whole series. They're like, do we really need to put all of the Harry Potter books on there? No, it's just going to be one line. They did like a full program of it. It was like a series of shows on PBS, sort of like the American version of the BBC really, but like a way crapper version, like publicly funded television. So I'll link some of the videos to that below. I think there's a couple on YouTube that you can find for that, but you can just go to their website and look through it, and you can get a list of all the full ones. I'll put that down the bottom as well, I think, and I'll give a running tally of where I am. I'm 56 books into the 100 currently. Okay, just as a really quick side note, my birthday is soon, and my parents sent me this birthday present, which is this shirt. Look, it's a mother effing Banicula t-shirt. I feel like they're the only ones that ever understand me, seriously. Why has no one else gotten me a Banicula t-shirt ever in my life, okay? I feel like they've let me down. But anyway, so when I first started the challenge to do this, the Great American Read ones, I was like, okay, so what are my personal rules for the Great American Read Challenge? A, read them all, every single one. Even the ones that are popular, because there's a subsect of America that thinks that Catholics won't be raptured. There's a series on here where the Pope is raptured because he renounces loads of key Catholic stuff right before he's raptured. But I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna do it because this is my Everest now. I'll conquer this bitch. I'm not kidding. Even if it takes me years, I will nail this. And the second rule that I made for myself really sort of has to be made, with some of the lines on the list being series instead of books. I had to sort of decide what I was going to do with that. Was I going to read literally every book in the series? Some of them have a crazy amount of books attached to them as a series. So I was like, to nail that line, tick it off completely, I need to read one of the books, mainly the first one in the series. If I love that series, I can read as many of those as I want to down the line, to sort of nail the series. But if I find through the first one that I'm hating that series, it's fine. I read the first one, ticked it off. And I think with quite a lot of the series, especially the one that I said before, that's probably going to be the case. But I am open-minded. I am accepting of eccentricity. It's a Ravenclaw trait. Whole point of the Great American Reads or whatever was to get people to know what the favorite American books were, or not favorite American books, but favorite books of Americans, but also to sort of come up with a winning list, a number one most popular book. That was the goal of the program, that they did a show on, a finale, Great American Read show on PBS, which was watched by me primarily. I was really into it, but also maybe a really little old lady and some cats. That's basically who watched this show, but it was so amazing. I loved it so much. Americans' absolute favorite book, as determined by this program and voting and everything, is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee. And I absolutely love this one as well, and always have done ever since I read it years and years and years ago. So I'm not against this at all, that it's number one. There's quite a lot of controversy about it because people don't like how it's sort of a white savior type thing, why is it there's so much literature of this kind? Someone white comes in and sort of thinks that they can fix things, don't really do anything, but they're hailed as this amazing type of people just because they've, dared to venture into this quaky business that other people have to live through all their lives and can't escape, you know? Despite that, I still really love it. I just love it so much. I love Scout and I love Atticus Finch. And I just love everything about it. Number 2 is probably one of my favorite books ever, and it's definitely on my list of favorite books. So I'll link that video down as well, because I did a video on my like 10 favorite books ever. So I'll link that one just in case you're interested. But number 2 favorite one in America, and one of my definite favorites, is Outlander by Diana Gabaldon. God knows. Anyway, the whole series, like the whole of the Outlander series, and there's like 7 books. There's supposed to be 8, so the last one is supposed to be coming out really soon. And people on Twitter have just been like, Diana, what are you doing? You're supposed to get your book out. And she's like got loads of sass. She's like, calm down. It's out when it's out, you know? Which I love her for. Anyway, number 3 favorite one in the whole of America is Harry Potter. First one being Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. Or a Philosopher's Stone if you're nasty. I've already read all of these about 8,000 times, like who hasn't? So I've nailed that already and haven't even touched it, so awesome. Number 4 on the list, obviously, Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen. So I actually didn't read this book until relatively recently, like I think this year or last year, which is stupid, I know. But I'd read all the other ones and loved them, and I'd seen this like 90s BBC show and also the movie, and I was like, why do I really need to read the book? I've seen all these sort of things and I love them, like I feel like that's enough for me. But I was so stupid. Why does anyone think this? Even still, I catch myself like, do I need to read The Goldfinch because the movie's gonna come out? No. You always need to read the book because the book is always 1,000 times better. Ugh, like in 5th place for the Great American Read is the Lord of the Rings book. So the first one being The Fellowship of the Ring, J.R.R. Tolkien. I was never able to get into it, and I, for my life, do not know why. Seriously. It's the kind of thing that's just right up my alley. I don't even really, like, maybe I just read it too late. Like I read Harry Potter and fell in love with Harry Potter and then like grew up and was an adult and then read it and then it just wasn't working out. I don't really understand. I couldn't even like get into the movies. Like I saw part of the first movie and couldn't really get into it. And like it's sacrilege for loads of people to be like, excuse me, how can you not like it? And I just want to be like, I know. I fully understand your outrage. I am also outraged with myself for not fully getting into these books. I'm gonna have to try again, to be honest, because I went to Oxford, like just as a day trip, because it's so close to me now, because I'm so European and I like live in the UK. But like, got on the train just to like trip to Oxford and see everything, and all of his, like, there's like exhibits and stuff for J.R.R. Tolkien. And I saw the movie about his life and I absolutely loved that movie. I loved his exhibit stuff at Oxford. Like I love the feel of Oxford and the feel of like all that kind of stuff, you know. But I just couldn't get into The Lord of the Rings. I know. I'm just as shocked as you. So I'm in the middle of reading through all of them, no matter what, no matter where they placed in the series, no matter what they're about. And I have like my favorite ones, probably my least favorite ones, ones that are sort of coming up that I'm going to read soon, and also ones that I'm probably going to have to leave for last just for my own sanity, and then read them very slowly interspersed with books that are actually good because they're going to be hard, I think, to get through. Though you never know. You know, sometimes I'm surprised by things. Like I'll pick them up and be like, this is obviously going to be horrendous. I do this quite a bit for the book club that I'm in at work. Like in the office, people are like, this is going to be an amazing book. And I'm like, if you say so. And then I'll read it and I'll be like, okay, to be fair, that actually was really good, but I can't tell you that because I'm not that kind of person that admits stuff like that. But also, you know, flip, loads of books I think, oh, it's going to be absolutely amazing, and then I bring them home and they're actual dog shit. So life is hard. Every day's a struggle. You never know what's going to happen, so I'm just going with that. I'm just so excited about this project. I love the Great American Read. I love that it exists. I love that so many people are into it, like me and the 5 people that watch the show. Like, we are so gung-ho and I love them for it. So as I'm going through this list, my favorite ones have been, obviously, Outlander, all of them, because I love them. Also, the Harry Potter ones, obviously, I love them. I've loved them since I was about 11 years old when my mom first brought home the first one because she saw it on Oprah. Third favorite is A Tree Grows in Brooklyn, which is a bit of a sleeper favorite. I feel like nobody really knows about this book and nobody really likes it. But it's one of my absolute favorites. I wish that I could write more like Betty Smith writes, and I think since I read it, I've always tried to write like her. My fourth favorite on the list is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier, but it's obviously on the list of Great American Reads because people absolutely adore this book. I've had a million discussions with just randoms in a store or whatever about how amazing Rebecca is. I stalked Daphne du Maurier's memory for ages in Cornwall last year. I got loads of Daphne du Maurier's cheesy souvenirs, postcards, hand towels. My fifth favorite from the list is The Giver by Lois Lowry. I absolutely loved this one. I read this one like I think in my 20s or something stupid. I read it just in a day, sat down in one place eating snacks, just read it all the way through. I love like the premise behind it. It's sort of like an alternate world where, you know, things are manipulated to keep you from feeling too much. Like they've isolated everything and made everything in a certain way to where you never feel too much pain or too much joy because it causes disharmony and things like that. And this kid, he's about 12 years old, he finds out the truth of what they do to you and how they make everything sort of black and white and you never feel intense joy or intense pain or anything, and he can't cope with it anymore, the knowledge that this is how it is, and sort of the horrendous things that go on in the back, you know, behind the scenes. So he just has to break free. I also have ones in this that I did not like. I've had quite a few actually, and I don't have any of these books. Like all of my favorite ones I've been able to show you by pulling them off of the shelf behind me. I don't have any of these horrible ones. Like I immediately gave them away because life is too hard, you know, and too short to be keeping horrible books in your house, okay? Especially when you've got like Marie Kondo riding your ass all the time asking you why you got shit in your house, okay? First one, 50 Shades of Grey. Why? Why? This book is horrible. I don't even know what the other ones are like. The first one is so horrible. She cannot write words. She can't write. She's a terrible writer. Loads of people that love this book say, yeah, she's not that great a writer. Then why is it your favorite book? That's stupid. That's dumb, okay? If you want to read porn, watch porn, have sex. There's a million ways, okay? You can nail down your desire to read porn without having to read terrible books, okay? There's amazing porn. I think, Anne Rice, is that it? Like, I will check this. She writes the vampire ones, like the Lestat ones. She also wrote porn under a different name, okay? I have read these and they are so good. Like, all you need to do is find someone who likes porn, likes to write porn, and also writes well. Don't waste any more of your life reading these horrible 50 Shades books just because you think it's the only acceptable way to read porn. A, there's no acceptable way to read porn. B, do it anyway. Everyone does it. It's an amazing time. This has been a public service announcement about 50 Shades of Grey. Stop wasting your life. Okay. Next one that I absolutely hated. Oh my god. Every time a book does this to me, I now call it Doing Me Like a Flowers in the Attic. Okay? That's my next hated one from this list. Flowers in the Attic by V.C. Andrews. This book hit me in the face with a fish and it wasn't funny, okay? It is all kinds of messed up. And lots of people told me that it was, but that they loved it anyway. And I thought, oh, I love something that's a bit messed up, but that we love anyway. There's a million things in it. I'm 100% down with that kind of thing. But this book was not a little bit messed up. I'm not even going to tell you what it is, okay? You are just going to have to take my word for it or read the book and get hit in the face with a fish, okay? Basically, everything that happened in this book, I pushed my way all the way through with this face. Like, why? The writing is pretty good. The premise starts out pretty good, you know, a bit of twist and turning plot twists, you know, I like. But then just from about halfway to the end, like just this face, like this, just like reading. Like, I think after I was done with the book, like my face was just stuck like this and I just had to like go to the post office. Like, I would like to buy stamps. Like, it wouldn't change back. Now, every time a book sort of does this to me, I just think it's done me a full Flowers in the Attic and I will not forgive it ever. Like, don't do it. It's a, ugh, don't do it. I feel dirty. After reading it, I felt like I needed to shower for about 8 days. Like, I'm not a prude, okay, by any means. I just said about the reading porn thing. But dear God, can we have any lines at all in this life? Okay, the third one I hated, I didn't even read recently. It was just on the list already and I had read it before I even came across the list. I had to read it in school. And this is sort of the way of things that you have to read in school, isn't it? Maybe it's a lovely book, maybe it's a terrible book. You'll never know because you had to read it in school and thus you don't like it, is basically what happened. I think there's only one book, no, maybe two books I ever read that I was forced to read in school that I actually liked. The Poisonwood Bible and Jane Eyre. That's it. Every single other one I had to read in school I hated, and this was one of them, Great Expectations. It is just hella boring. Even when you know all the back stuff, like your teacher's like, this, you know, table is a metaphor for life's blah blah blah, and you're like, that is interesting. Still a shitty book, okay? Like, I know there's a million Charles Dickens mega fans out there, and I can completely understand that because I do really like Christmas Carol. I read it every year like a weirdo. I know that there's loads of really legendary characters, ideas that I've sort of carried on into the next centuries or whatever, because he was an amazing thinker and really clever, an amazing writer. But Great Expectations, dear God, was a snooze fest, and I can't even tell you. Right, so I think from here on out, I'm gonna do like a series of videos to do with this Great American Read, sort of every once in a while whenever I finish one that's on the list. I'll do an update on that book and sort of like update my list of where I am and like the running tally of the ones that I finished and how many to go. The one that I'm reading right now is 100 Years of Solitude by Gabriel Garcia Marquez. So my next video I think will be to do with that one, and I've only just gotten into it, but I like it already, so I'm happy that this one is looking like it's going to be a good one instead of a really bad one. And I think like the next couple after that I'm probably going to hit up Jurassic Park, because I'm really excited about that one, and then I think maybe Hunt for Red October by Tom Clancy, because my dad really likes that one and I have it on my shelves because I got it cheap. And then probably Beloved by Toni Morrison, because rip Toni Morrison. Barack Obama as well just came out saying that he was like reading her ones, and I don't like to be weird and like a stalker, but I will basically read anything you read. So my birthday's coming up and I was like, oh, what amazing books were published in the year that I was born, 1987, by the way. Like, don't talk about how old I am because it makes me nervous. But Toni Morrison's Beloved was actually published in 1987, the year that I was born, so it's as old as me, and so I might give that a go sort of for my birthday or like roughly after. I think probably the ones that I'm gonna have to hit up last, like some of them gotta be last, but I think probably the last ones are gonna end up being the big horrible ones like Crime and Punishment, you know, Don Quixote, The Pilgrim's Progress. I don't understand why it's on people's like favorite reads. I think what happened is some people in America, they've only ever read one book, and it's the book that they had to read in high school, you know? So when people are like, so what's your favorite book? And they're like, oh yes, I read The Pilgrim's Progress when I was 17. And that's literally the only book I've read, so now it's my favorite. I think also Game of Thrones is going to be one of the last ones I read. I tried to read this ages ago, and also I tried to watch the show, and I just 100% cannot get behind it. It's horrendous. Like so much like violence and like complexity for like worlds and families and stuff. I just can't cope. And I think also that Christian one, the one where everyone is raptured except the Catholics just because they're Catholic. I mean, I guess if I'm not raptured, I can just run about the world and eat all the Twinkies that are left, but like, come on, that's stupid. If you like this video, please like the video, subscribe to my channel, please. If you have anything to say about it, like you really like those books, or you really hate the books, or you're also doing the Great American Read, or this has introduced you to the amazingness of the Great American Read, let me know in the comments down the bottom. I 100% want to have a chat about all of these. My kid is now returning from the land of sugar and cake and bouncy houses now, probably with an enormous gift bag full of crap that's going to end up in my house. So have to end this video now. But thank you for watching. Bye!